Captain Ron in the morning. Monday through Friday from 6 to 9 on The Boss. 101.5 FM and 1390 AM.
Available at Full Throttle Power Sports, 100 Indian Walk in Lowell.
Since 1986, Witherspoon Insurance Agency in Shelby has been serving families across Shelby and Cleveland County. And today, Wayne Witherspoon continues the tradition of bringing you the best insurance at the best possible price. With names like The Hartford, Safeco, Progressive, National General, and Travelers. Drop by the office today at 125 North Lafayette Street in Shelby and talk with one of their friendly hometown agents. Witherspoon Insurance Agency, your independent insurance agency since 1986. The public inspection files of WOHS and WCSL are located at the studios at 1416 Shelby Highway in Cherryville. WOHS and WCSL are owned and operated by KTC Broadcasting Incorporated. WOHS and WCSL do not discriminate against any qualified applicant, regardless of race, color, religion, national origin, age, or sex. For more information, you may call 704-482-1390 or email us at info@ktcbroadcasting.com. WOHS Shelby, WCSL Cherryville, Gastonia.
Built upon a solid foundation of cast iron and steel, the Kubota L-Series is part of our under 100 horsepower tractor lineup rated #1 for reliability. They feature powerful Kubota diesel engines and easy operation. The durable Kubota L-Series. Talk to your local Kubota dealer today to schedule a demo. Go to KubotaUSA.com for full disclaimer.
Your Kubota dealer is Parker Farm Service, located at 126 Bessie Drive on Oak Grove Road at the Highway 74 bypass in Kings Mountain.
Here's what's coming to the Don Gibson Theater in November. Their annual fundraiser is coming up on November 5th. Come out and contribute to Shelby's best entertainment venue. Couples are $175 and single tickets are only $100. On November 12th, it's Laughter is the Best Medicine 2, featuring Larry Weaver and Chad Thornsberry. And don't miss Edward McCain on November 25th. The Don Gibson Theater wants to thank the men and women who have fought to make this country the greatest in the world, and for that, we say thank you. For tickets and information, call 704-487-8114 or go to thedongibsontheater.com.
On the go, Quick Lube at 3718 Falston Road, Highway 18 North in Shelby, salutes our soldiers everywhere who bravely bear our country's cause. Honor also to the citizens who care for our veterans as they serve the best they can. One flag, one land, one heart, one hand, one nation evermore. Our patriotic heart beats red, white, and blue. This special veteran salute is brought to you by On the Go Quick Lube, 3718 Falston Road, Highway 18 north of Shelby. Like them on Facebook too.
Snap, I lay your backs in the backfield. Your quarterback scared, I see it in his eyes. Sit that receiver in motion, that's just a disguise. My linebackers, they stepping up. Clog a hole, no letting up. taking on them big blocks. On fourth down, we get big stops. My secondary is balling out. Your offense keeps stalling out. How many yards? Like none at all. Cause special teams don't punt the ball and it's gone. And you never see me fair catch. I get a block and then I'm gone like a Lear jet. My helmet on, pass strap tight. My jersey shining in them Friday night lights. Win, we just came to win. Win, we just came to win. Friday night lights. Friday night lights. Win, we just came to win. Win, we must protect this house. I'm in a huddle talking to the Hawks. We gonna run it down their throat soon as we get the ball. Come out and fire off the ball, we going on one. My skill position so proficient, break for long runs. Come out running that option, that mean I got the option to keep that or pitch that. Defense, they gotta fix that. Four receivers, we spread them out in the shotgun. Hot reads, I got some. My tight end, so awesome. Touchdowns, I toss some. We score six scoreboard, that score six. Respect the ball, we protect the ball. We don't fumble, no throw picks. I feed my linemen pancakes, so all they blocks on pancakes. Push you around like all night. End of the game, get your handshakes, huh? My helmet on, pass strap tight. My jersey shining in them Friday night lights. Win, we just came to win. Win, we just came to win. Friday night lights. Friday night lights. Win, we just came to win. Win, we must protect.
And good evening and welcome to the Witherspoon Insurance Pregame Football Show, brought to you by Witherspoon Insurance of Shelby, KTC Broadcasting, WCSL 1590 AM, 92.9 FM, and 101.5, 1390 AM, and WHS in Shelby. We got football tonight, round 4, Thanksgiving football. We got Thanksgiving practices, and everybody's full of food and full of turkey and full of all kinds of stuff already, aren't we, Shannon? Here tonight. Shannon Allen's in the house. Dennis Davis and Tom Cinefani are on the show tonight to preview this week's games here across the area. We're going to pull those up here and let you guys know. The big games tonight, though, we've got Shelby hosting Forest Hills and Crest hosting who got Dudley? That's right, Dudley.
Greensboro Dudley.
So, Dennis, a little quick update. You want to tell us about big practice yesterday over at Crest, getting ready for today?
Well, I wasn't there, but all the alumni, former players, coaches, and everything was invited back. I think they had a big breakfast for the players, and they had practice at 9:30, and all the alumni, former players, and coaches were there to watch, and they had a whole section of stands full. So it was a featured event, so I could retain my neutrality on the teams I didn't attend.
Well, Shannon, you got Shelby and Forest Hills this week. Good afternoon, good evening, everybody. Welcome to the show. Trying to pull up the schedule for you guys. Do you have them there, Dennis, in front of you? All the games, guys?
Oh yeah, and Shelby had some former players come to their practice too. It wasn't nearly as many, but they had former players too. It's good to boost morale and everything. This week, you want the East and the West, or just
give us everything?
Okay, over in the Eastern Regionals, in the 4A, you have number 5 Cardinal Gibbons taking on number 1 Rolesville, and you have number 3 Hoggard at number 2 Cleveland. So that pretty much went by the order. You got 1, 2, 3, and 5 teams playing in the 4A East. In the 4A West, you have number 4 Grimsley at number 1 Weddington. You have number 23 Independence at number 6 Butler. So they broke the mold over there. And Independence pulled some upsets. Although their record is 10-3, they're playing Butler, which is 12-1, and Grimsley at 13-0 is playing at Weddington, which is number 1 seed at 11-2. So a little something going on there. In the 3A East, you had number 13 Northern Nash, 12-1 at number 1 Havelock, And you had number 3, Southern Alamance, 12-1. At number 2, 71st. That 71st team and the Havelock team, you need to keep an eye on those boys because those are the powerhouses down in the eastern part. It could come up for the western players. In the 3A West, you have number 4, Dudley, which is 13-0. At number 1, Crest, which is 13-0. You have number 3, West Henderson. At number 2, Hickory. West Henderson's 13-0. Hickory's 13-0. So you have all 4 teams, 1, 2, 3, 4. They're all undefeated.
Why does it say Hickory number 4 there?
Those are max preps ratings and not the seeds.
Okay, not the
So
seeds.
for the folks watching at home, we were all trying to figure that out here. I was staring at it for a second. I think that's what that is because there's no way Hickory's the 2 seeds, aren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah, Hickory's 13-0, and they're the number 2 seed.
I'll pull it up on the Athletic
These are
Association.
seeds, Tom, so they may vary a little bit.
Sure. It just what was on the screen wasn't matching up with what you were saying. That's okay. That's my fault.
All right, in the 2A East Regional, you've got number 4 Nash Central, 11-2 at number 1 Clinton, which is 13-0. Clinton always has a history of having good football. Shannon, you probably remember playing Clinton several times in the state playoffs. Number 6 Whiteville, 11-2, is at number 2 Northeastern. Whitesville has a very storied tradition in football and baseball. They have some Otis Nixon that played for the Braves is from Whiteville. In the 2A West Regional, number 4 Bunker Hill, 13-0, is at number 1 Reidsville, 12-1. So Reidsville has been beaten, and surprisingly, they're not picked to win tonight. Bunker Hill is picked to win tonight. Number 11 Forest Hills, 12-1, is at number Shelby, 10-3. We'll talk more about that pick later on. In the 1A East Regional, you have East Bladen, 8-5, at number 1 Tarboro, 11-0, and you have number 3 Wilson Prep, 11-1, at number 2 West Columbus. In the 1A West Regional, you have number 4 North Rowan, 11-2, at number 1 Robbinsville, 12-1. You have number 3 Eastern Randolph at number 2 Mount Airy, 13-0. So there again, you have a regional with the 1, 2, 3, 4 picks, all here in the semifinals, if you will. And that's all the games we have tonight. Shannon, you got anything you want to add to that?
Did you say that Bunker Hill was favored over Reidsville?
Yeah, we're not doing picks right now, but I just thought that was ironic. We're more familiar with Bunker Hill than we are Reidsville. Reidsville historically is a powerhouse and a tough place to play. You don't want to have to go to Reidsville unless you just really like the Eastern barbecue down there.
Who's gonna guard the tight end? I didn't see anybody at Bunker Hill.
That's why I don't understand why everybody's putting Bunker Hill on a pedestal. I mean,
they're good.
They're good, but I don't think Reidsville's going to be too fast for them. Easily too fast for them.
Well, see, without seeing them, I mean, but I've seen Bunker Hill. Bunker Hill is good up front. Front four is good.
Yeah.
You know, the front four is good, and the 3 skill players, the quarterback, wide receiver, and the running back are all good. But I don't know if they've got enough. You know, Shannon,
No,
I don't know if
so.
they've got enough. I mean, that's their 3-headed monster, you know, but I don't know if that's enough to get by Reidsville. And I don't know how many of the guys they have from that team last year, but that team last year was such a dominant football team.
This is why we want you here, Tom. You have actually seen these teams play.
Yeah, I mean, Bunker Hill, I mean, I was impressed with them, but they didn't do a whole lot in the second half against Burns.
I was surprised at this pick of Bunker Hill being favored by only 1, and I'll be honest with you, because traditionally you have schools with reputations that they've earned because they've performed over the years. Shelby is 1. Reidsville is 1. You would expect maybe even though Shelby had a tough start and lost 3 games, but they lost those games to powerful 3A teams. Yeah. And so I would think the finals, in my opinion, would end up maybe Shelby versus Reidsville. But here they've got Bunker Hill play. I think Shelby would much rather play Bunker Hill than it would Reidsville.
I think anybody would. And I just go back to last year, Tom, you talking about that tight end. I thought Burns had the best player in the state last year, Ryan Thompson. The best player that I saw. Let's put it that way. I mean, he was unstoppable. He beat Burns beat Monroe in the playoffs in a game where Monroe couldn't stop him. And then who did? Was it Salisbury they beat again last year?
Yeah.
And I mean, it was like, okay, he's going to be the X factor when they go to Reidsville. You know, how are they going? And it was like he wasn't even a factor. Yeah. And it's like because Reidsville had so many other weapons, they could, you know, they could, like the tight end, the freshman phenom or whatever he was, and it's. I don't see Bunker Hill going up there and making it. I mean, yeah, they may score a couple times, but I just don't see them. I don't see them stopping Reidsville. Let's put it that way.
If they can, I got a feeling they're going to hit McCleve on the line and have somebody helping over the top.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see him getting loose in the secondary.
Yeah,
and they've got a couple other guys that can catch the ball, but I just, you know, McCleve's they're a game breaker. They're a big threat. So if they can neutralize him, I don't know if anybody else can really like threaten, you know, the home run hitter.
Yeah. Well, tell us about Bunker Hill defensively, Tom.
I mean, up front they're good. I mean, we tried to go with some extra beef, you know, with that double H back or double hug or whatever you want to call it. It didn't work. I'm just telling you, they smacked us in the mouth. I mean, it was very difficult to run the football, especially in the first half. So they're good up front. And they can get after the quarterback too. You know, they're good up front, and that's a lot because if you're good with your front four, now you don't have to blitz, and you can leave a couple extra guys back.
Well, comment a little bit about Bunker Hill's quarterback while you're on.
He's good. I mean, he can. We didn't think he could run the ball. Like if you look at his stats, it's like he didn't have. I think he had like negative rushing yards coming in, but I think he just chose not to use him. He can make plays with his legs. He can stretch the field. He can tuck it and run. So, I mean, he's not like a super dynamic runner, but he runs well enough to give him that threat. So, I mean, I think they've got enough to have a chance. I'm not saying they don't have a chance in this game, but knowing that, you know, Reidsville's reputation and you know, we do know about the tight end. I don't know if anybody can – who's going to match up with him? I don't know anybody on that team that could match up with him.
Well, Tom, the thing about Reidsville, and Shannon and I have said this, when the bus pulls up at South Point, you're behind 14. And Reidsville, it's like that.
It's tough to play there.
Yeah.
It's, you know, we were there last year. It's a tough place to play, and their crowd will be getting into it. And trust me, they'll have a crowd there. Reidsville will have a crowd there. I mean, it's a tough place to play. It's a little, you know, Reidsville's not very big. You know, I mean, it's just basically it's their football
like Maiden
team.
Used to be when Tom Brown was there. It's
right.
Little football town.
Little football town.
Everybody turns out.
And everybody will be there. And I tell you, it's a tough place to play. And, you know, if you're Bunker Hill, it's not super, super long up there, but long enough. I'm always, when you put teenagers on a bus and ride them a couple hours and get them off, I'm just telling you, it affects. I don't care what anybody says. It's going to affect you. I don't care what anybody says. So, I mean, it's a good little ride up there. Nothing like Burns had last year, you know, because you're already up there, I-40 on the eastern part of Catawba County if you're Bunker Hill. But I think being at home is going to be a tremendous advantage for anybody at this point. As the schools seem to get further and further apart, it gets a little bit tougher.
Well, that's an excellent point, Tom, and we'll bring that up in talking about some of these other games as we start predicting some scores and winners and things about travel, home field advantage, those kind of factors that will come in to bear on the games tonight.
And do you have a game breaker? You know, like it's the same thing when I was looking at Forest Hills. I might be wrong, Shannon. You might have to double check me on this, but it seemed like Forest Hills didn't have a touchdown longer than maybe about 40 or 45 yards all year. I was like looking down.
Right. Yeah.
And what does that tell you? They don't have a game breaker. You know what I mean? They don't have a game breaker. And they went up against the Monroe team, and we know the history of Monroe usually has pretty good athletes, and they got beat 28-0.
Yeah,
They got beat 28-0. So if they don't have anybody who can threaten deep, I think Forest Hills is going to have a hard time tonight. I know we're going to get into predictions later, but just looking at like you look at a Forest, they're averaging about 300 yards of offense a game. So what's that tell you? I mean, they do a little ball control. They're not running up these gaudy numbers.
Right.
And if you don't have anybody who can threaten them, I just don't see how Shelby's going to get beat tonight. I think that Forest Hill's going to have a hard time. They're going to have to control the football, basically the whole game, because if they don't have that kind of game breaker speed on offense, I don't know if they have anybody match up with Bridges or anybody
Bridges
like that.
or Tate either, because Shelby's offense right now has gotten better, a lot better than it was a few weeks ago. And now instead of everybody was concentrating on Bridges, now you've got Tate emerging at running back. And then the Farmer kid at quarterback, the sophomore.
I sorry to say, let's do not underestimate Farmer. He's a sophomore, but this is the end of the year. So he's got a year's experience starting there.
Yeah.
And he throws a great ball. And just ask Bridges. All this, as Tom, you said, game breaker.
Yeah.
Shelby's got that.
You gotta have that. I mean, just the threat. You know what I mean? Just the threat of that. And like, I might be wrong. Like, I haven't seen, but when you got an out of area team and you're looking here, it's like, okay, where's the crazy numbers? Like you look at the team Crest played Dudley.
Yeah.
You're looking at them and it's like 500 yards of offense. They got 3 guys that almost have 1,000 yards receiving on the year. It's like crazy. You know what I mean?
The question, I think, with Dudley, Tom, we'll get back to it when we're making predictions. At this time of the year, Shelby, they lost 3 games. But who did they play? Who did they lose those games to? Now, there's some teams that they played in conference that aren't exactly strength of schedule teams. But I think that's the case maybe with Dudley when we start breaking down who Dudley is and where they got all those numbers. Who were they against?
They played some teams. I saw that their record wasn't the best. And just looking, and it's kind of hard. I mean, like, in the NFL, there's 32 teams, and it's still hard to keep up with when you got, like, all these teams in the state of North Carolina. It's hard to gauge, like, okay, who they played. But, you know, there's some, like, tendencies. You know, there's some tendencies that if you had you're playing some teams that are 500 or less, you know, like a 500 team in high school, a lot of times is not really a really, really good football team. And it seemed like I didn't count them up, but a lot of the teams were 500. One of the teams was 1-10. You know, they just had a hard, you know, just didn't play a
Tom,
super tough schedule.
What do you think about this theory? We see it, Shannon, from time to time at this time of the year. You got one of these teams with a great record that has a high seed, and then they play some team that's lost a few games, and they get their butt kicked. And the reason is, you know, they were playing a bunch of cupcakes, Tom. They were winning so big, those athletes never played more than a half, and they're not in condition. And that's the question I have. At this time of the year, you need guys that can go maybe 4+ quarters.
Yeah, but you look at the other side of it, too, that if you've played cupcakes, your guys aren't taking the beating. Like,
That's true.
I mean, you know, so I think it's kind of tit for tat. You know what I mean? It's like you make a good point with you know, you're not been challenged in the fourth quarter. It's different. You know, now it's like, I mean, no disrespect to some, but if you're playing like a Highland Tech and you're up 60-0, and you know all your JVs are in there and your guys are rested, you're not getting that fourth quarter experience. But at the same time, you know, 14 football games, that's a lot of football games, Dennis. Both Crest and Dudley have played 13 football games. Okay. You got your 4 of them. That takes a toll.
Well, let's just suppose for our purposes of talk here, Tom, you're a 300-pound lineman. You've played a half all year, and then you've had some sub come in. Now you got to play 4 tough quarters. Your tongue's hanging down about your kneecap.
I mean, yeah. Well, maybe you've been running. I remember Coach Stewart used to make us run the hill a good bit. So maybe they're running the hill over there at Crest and staying in shape. But I do think you know, you make a good point. I think it could be advantageous or not advantageous. I mean, football, it's a rough game. I don't care at what level. Yeah. You get dinged up. You get, you know, you're not out, but this hurts and that hurts. And
at this time of the year, you know, everybody hurts.
Everybody's hurting
the
this time of year. I don't know about that. I don't know about that one, but I do think that not only you talk about the physical, but also it's mental. Yeah. And if you look at what Crest did last week, down was like 21-6, 22, so whatever it was late in that game, and they have the mental strength to get through that. Because I think that's what happened to an AC Reynolds. You know, AC Reynolds is way behind. And then all of a sudden, Hickory's got 60. So, like, mentally you're beat, so you just quit. You know what I mean? And that's not what happened to Crest. So, not only the physical toughness, but the mental toughness that you need. And I think that Crest really did show that last week.
But they've
that
shown it before. South Point, some other times, they get behind, and all of a sudden, like we said, I don't know if it's their physical conditioning running in the sand pit, but they do not quit.
But I'll say this for Crest, too.
Yeah.
Like, you're down in the middle of the season, 21-3 or whatever. Down and do or die, it's different. You know, it's
the pressure
different.
is definitely there.
The pressure is a lot more. The mental toll is a lot more because we all know, well, if we lose this conference game, we're still going to make the playoffs. You lose a third-round game, you're done. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, I really have to tip my cap to, the Crest guys and their coaching staff. I think they've done a good job getting these guys physically and mentally prepared to get this far. Now, they're going to see something I don't know if they've seen all year.
Oh, no.
I don't know if they've seen an offense as powerful as Dudley's. Maybe I'm wrong. I'm trying to think, Dennis, who might have been on the caliber of a Dudley that on 500 yards a game. Shannon, am I wrong there?
No.
It seemed like it was 300 yards passing and 200 yards rushing every game.
Yeah. I think last week, West Charlotte was about as close.
Salisbury may have put up some numbers.
But that's not Crest. We're talking about has Crest seen an offense as good as Dudley's? I mean, that's going to be.
Quite frankly, no.
I mean, and you know, you could say what you want. Like some people have been saying this or that, the Crest defense. Well, they showed up in the second half last week, didn't they? I mean, so.
Let's face it, Crest defense won that game last week.
Yeah, they did. I mean, they had to hold them where they were to allow Crest to come back in that game. So I've got faith in the Crest defense. They're going to see some cats tonight, man.
Oh yeah.
When you see three guys, I know Shannon, you do a better job of it than me, but I think I saw 3 guys around 1,000 yards receiving.
Dudley.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, and Crest has that too now. They've got
because they got Green and Adams and the other. Who's the other kid?
Okay.
Addison.
Here's the numbers, Tom, talking about Dudley. Their quarterback, Andrew Atmore II, he's completed 74% of his passes.
I think it's Dennis. What was the TD like? He's thrown 32 touchdowns and 4 interceptions, something crazy like that. The TD to interception ratio was stupid. He's
passed for 3,546 yards and 49 touchdowns this year. Now, his receivers you were talking about, Cordell Bartley has 51 catches for 870 yards, 9 touchdowns. C.J. Neely has 47 catches for 981 yards, 15 touchdowns. And Nasir Newkirk has 43 catches for 943 yards and 13 touchdowns. In the running game, L.J. Southern and Jaden Brown have combined for 1,752 rushing yards. So not only can they throw it, they can run it too.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I mean, you can't just sit there and say, well, we're just going to try to drop 8 back and take it away or we're just going to load the box. You can't do it.
The defense is credited with 47.5 sacks this year, and they forced 29 turnovers. Oh, yeah. And they are, I think we're giving up maybe 9 points a game.
Yeah. I mean, they do. They're impressive. Their resume is impressive.
On paper, the advantage goes to
4 interceptions,
Dudley.
right?
4 interceptions.
I knew it was a stupid ratio. I'm looking. What's his rating? 140?
Shoot. Let me pull it back.
His rating was 140 or something stupid.
Well, let's do a little comparison here. We just
137 point. 140, 148.8.
We talked about Atwell. They averaged 517 yards and 54 points.
That's right.
A game.
I knew it was around 500 yards.
But Crest. Okay, we talk about Husky. He's averaged 460 yards. Wait a minute. Advantage Dudley. And 47 points per game. Advantage Dudley. Quarterback Natavius Tater Husky has completed 67% of his passes. Their guys completed, 74%. Advantage Dudley.
Okay, hold on a second. Let me stop you there.
Go ahead.
Their quarterback can't run it like Husky.
No,
I'm just going to go ahead and tell you.
I'm getting there, Tom.
Before you say advantage on the quarterback, I'm talking
about passing yardage according to the records. What we're going to see tonight, Tom, none of this counts. The score is 0-0 right now.
Yeah, I think Husky with the dual threat ability and just escapability. I mean, you can't get the kid on the ground.
Right.
I mean, it's just, that's the dynamic. Like I said, and just I was wrong about the Bunker Hill quarterback when I looked at his rushing stats. But I think that, there are certain quarterbacks that can run more, but they're looking to extend the play other than to run the ball themselves.
Well, Huskies passed for 3,431 yards, 43 touchdowns. But, Tom, to make your point, he also has 588 rushing yards and 7 touchdowns.
Yeah, I mean,
that's just Husky.
But he could have more than that.
Oh,
if he wanted. I mean, if they wanted to run more of a read option, speed option, I mean, he could do that if they wanted to.
And tonight, that's probably the key. They're going to need to run him a little bit more. The question is, why don't they? Well, Tom, very seriously, you want your quarterback healthy at this time of year.
Exactly. That's just what I was about to say. I mean, it's just like for Burns. Mooney got a little dinged up. I mean, he was running the ball more, but the more hits your quarterback takes, the more likely is to get hurt. But in high school, you're going to see it more. I don't care. Like in high school, you're going to see it more. But I mean, even pros are doing it. I mean, but remember, once upon a time, that was a no-no. Your quarterback didn't run. But
stay in the pocket.
Right, stay in the pocket. So we're seeing a little bit different, but I think that Husky's running ability is I'm not sure Dudley has seen somebody that dynamic. Now they may have, I don't know, but I'm telling you, they better bring their A game tonight because Husky can hurt you in a variety of ways. He's a smart kid. He's a veteran quarterback. He makes good decisions. He's hard to get on the ground. They better have their A game.
And don't leave out Adrian Carson. He's rushed for 906 yards and 13 touchdowns this year. Okay, so you're playing and you're keying on Husky, and he does a little pitch over to Carson, and Carson can take it to the end zone.
Yeah, they have a number of game, right?
Versatility on the part of both of these teams.
I mean, you're naming, you got Husky, Green, Addison, Adams, Carter. I mean,
last week,
I gotta stop those guys.
Yeah, last week,
they're all over the place.
West Charlotte, what they did was they stopped they stopped Husky, and then they stopped the pass for the most part.
Yeah.
But then they forgot about Carson. Like if there was 3rd and long, Carson to get the first down. He'd bust a long run up the middle. Now, he didn't break one for a touchdown, but he at least extended the drive. And then that's when it took one breakdown by West Charlotte, and that's when they hit Adams for the touchdown for that. That got Crest back in the game, and then it just started to the momentum switched after that, and Crest just started to come back, and that's how they won. So.
Well, we'll be back with a little more breakdown on both these teams and some predictions for scores. But right now, we need to take a little break and pay some bills.
Since 1986, Witherspoon Insurance Agency in Shelby has been serving families across Shelby and Cleveland County. And today, Wayne Witherspoon continues the tradition of bringing you the best insurance at the best possible price. With names like The Hartford, Safeco, Progressive, National General, and Travelers. Drop by the office today at 125 North Lafayette Street in Shelby and talk with one of their friendly hometown agents. Witherspoon Insurance Agency, your independent insurance agency since 1986.
Do you want to have a tremendous Christmas? Well, you can with a Christmas tree from Spake Farms. Spake Farms is now open, and they have a great selection of beautiful, fresh-cut North Carolina Fraser firs. Plus, you'll find wreaths in all sizes, pine and Fraser fir roping, live Doug trees, bows, and tree stands. Yes, it will be a tremendous Christmas with a tree from Spake Farms, Highway 150 East, a quarter mile above the YMCA in Shelby. Got a big crowd coming over for the holidays? Then get barbecue for the whole crowd from Red Bridges Barbecue Lodge in Shelby. They have barbecue packages to feed from 4 to 20 with barbecue, slaw, rolls, hush puppies, and sauce. Call and place your order at 704-482-8567. And December 23rd will be Christmas Pickup Day. They will be closed for Christmas December 24th through the 27th. Red Bridges Barbecue Lodge, 2000 East Dixon Boulevard in Shelby. Online at bridgesbbq.com. Serving award-winning North Carolina barbecue since 1946. Bennett Insurance Agency in downtown Cherryville reminds you that there are 25 million veterans living among us today. These men and women selflessly set aside their civilian lives to put on the uniform and service so we can be free. We are so thankful for all those who have fought in wars so that we may all enjoy our freedom. The bravery and risk that these men and women took will not be forgotten. This memorial salute from Bennett Insurance Agency at 116 West Main Street in downtown Cherryville and Rocky Bennett, U.S. Army Spec 4 from 1970 to 1972. It's Cherryville's third annual Holiday Market, Saturday, November 25th, 10 a.m. till 2 p.m. Save on your holiday shopping. Visit Cherryville's Main Street merchants with special holiday sales and over 30 local craft vendors for special deals. Again, that's Saturday, November 25th, 10 a.m. till 2 p.m. You'll find gifts and goods of all sorts and delicious food and treats. So plan to be there Saturday, November 25th, the third annual Holiday Market, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. at Cherryville's Mini Park on Main Street in Cherryville.
This veteran salute is from Gaston Floors in Gastonia. If you're a veteran, you have our undying respect and gratitude. It's important that our veterans receive support for protecting the United States and its citizens at home and abroad. We can never repay the debt we owe you. God bless and keep our veterans. Thanks to you and your families for your service to our country. This veteran salute is brought to you by Gaston Floors, 914 Moose Street in Gastonia. Online at gastonfloors.com and like them on Facebook too.
Our individual faith and freedom can keep us free. This Veterans Day salute is being brought to you by the City of Kings Mountain. Americans never quit. America's veterans embody the ideals upon which America was founded more than 230 years ago. Some people live an entire lifetime and wonder if they have ever made a difference in the world. Veterans have lived the meaning of the land of the free and the home of the brave. This Veterans Day salute is brought to you by everyone at the City of Kings Mountain. This holiday season, a new Honda CRF is more than the most reliable machine to hit the trails. Our lineup of family-friendly trail bikes offers the perfect gift for riders of every level, from the CRF 50F to the 110, the 125, and the full-size 250F. You can give the gift of riding to every Red Rider in the family. So head to Honda Motorcycles of Shelby, 4402 East Dixon Boulevard in Shelby, now during the Honda Gifts That Go sales event, and give a gift that'll last a lifetime. It's open enrollment season for your 2024 Medicare insurance renewal, and in Gaston, Cleveland, and Rutherford counties, the go-to place is Golden Solutions Insurance. See Claudia Vaughn and her staff today at Golden Solutions Insurance. Has your premium gone up from last year? Are your brand name medications higher than last year? At Golden Solutions Insurance, they will analyze your current plan and in a lot of cases save you money. They represent the names you trust like Blue Cross Blue Shield, United Healthcare, Aetna, and Humana. They can also help with your dental, vision, and hearing plans. Call them today at 704-477-1426 to get the help you need.
Get more bang for your buck this fall with Buck Days at James River Equipment. Buy any new John Deere 1 through 4 Series tractor with a loader and you'll receive your choice of a rear blade or a set of pallet forks for only $1. So whether you're leveling your driveway or doing some heavy lifting, James River can help you save big bucks. Visit jamesriverequipment.com/buckdays to learn more. Offer ends 11/30/23. Some restrictions apply. See dealer for details. James River delivers.
For nearly 50 years, the K family at Numbers Bookkeeping and Income Tax Service have been taking care of your bookkeeping and income tax needs in Shelby, Cleveland County, and the surrounding area. They feature a staff of enrolled agents and registered tax return preparers to make sure you get every advantage you deserve. That's Numbers Bookkeeping and Income Tax Service, 707 South Lafayette Street in Shelby. Give them a call at 704-484-2783. Online at numbersofshelby.com. They are there for you.
The Transportation Administration of Cleveland County continues to operate TAC, Cleveland County Transit and Reach. The Cleveland County Transit route will continue to be free to ride until further notice. For more information, call 704-482-6705. Again, 704-482-6705. For schedules and times, visit taxshelbync.com. That's taxshelbync.com. Drivers clean and sanitize their vehicles every route. For all of your printing needs, see Modern Printing of Cherryville. Get your full-color business cards at Modern Printing of Cherryville, along with your full-color brochures. Get multicolor letterhead and multicolor envelopes. Just call 704-435-6112 or email at modern_printing@ymail.com. Modern Printing, located 902 East Main Street, Cherryville. Open Monday through Friday, 8:30 a.m. till 4:30 p.m. That's Modern Printing of Cherryville.
And welcome back to the Witherspoon Insurance Shelby pregame show with Kevin and Dennis and Shannon and Tom. He kind of interrupted me. I didn't get to do some before. I don't know what that was about. But, I mean, hey, JP always here trying to make him sound good.
All right, JP, thank you. Just
You're welcome.
Go chase down some chow for us later on.
I'll do my best.
All right, you do a good job on that. All right, fellas, we talked a little bit about Dudley. We talked a little bit about Crest. It's time to do some picks because, folks, if you're going to the Shelby game, let me remind you, it starts at 7, not 7:30. Crest is 7:30, Shelby 7. So we'll be going over there for the broadcast at 6:30 for the pregame show. So you'll need to get over there a little bit earlier tonight because of that. Crest fans, you don't have to be there till 7:30. So, fellas, let's go ahead and make some picks for those people that are Shelby fans that are leaving early tonight. You guys want to do all these 4As and 3As and everything?
Sure, why not? Sure.
Since we don't have a lot of things, let's look at your chart here. In the 1A, you got North Rowan Cavaliers, and they're traveling to Robbinsville Black Knights tonight. Okay? Shannon, tell us what you got. You're always the expert on these teams.
So last week, both these two teams were in very close games. North Rowan defeated Mountain Heritage 48-39. Robbinsville defeated Swain County 30-24. And North Rowan, their two losses, Tom. One was Forest Hills this year, 41-13. Then they got beat by Salisbury 55-14. Robbinsville's only loss came to Rapin Gap, Nakuchi, however you say that, 36-0 back on September 22nd. But North Rowan comes in averaging 34, giving up 30. They have a quarterback, Jeremiah Alford. He's averaging 139 yards per game. They have a running back averaging over 140 yards per game as well. Robbinsville comes in. They have a quarterback, Donovan Carpenter. But their main weapon is their running back, Cutler Adams. He's averaging 136 yards per game. He has 28 touchdowns. They're averaging 31, giving up 14 a game. I think North Rowan, again, I think their speed factor, and the fact that they play probably some competition a little bit better than Robbinsville. I think they win this one in a close one, 34-28.
Tom, what do you know about these teams?
Well, I know Robbinsville's year in, year out, they're good. And in that part of the state, they're kind of in the corner of the state there. I know they have some battles with Swain County and some of the teams out there. But you're North Rowan, you're coming all
That's
the way.
That's a drive. That's a haul.
I mean, Robbinsville's not all the way in the corner like Murphy, but it's all out there.
It's either North Georgia or East Tennessee.
Yeah, and they're pretty battle tested. I mean, they've played some good 1A opponents.
Yeah.
And North Rowan was taken to the limit last week. You know, had to score a lot of points to win. I like Robbinsville at home. I think their defense will hold North Rowan, and they'll be able to come home with the victory tonight.
Well, you've got the number 4 seed North Rowan, which has 11-2 record. Shannon gave you all the results of that. At number 1, Robbinsville, which is 12-1. Robbinsville is favored by 16, Tom. So based on your knowledge of this, you're picking Robbinsville. Shannon's going with North Rowan. Tune in later tonight when we'll find out who's correct on that one. All right, fellas, we've got number 3, Eastern Randolph, 12-1. At number 2, Mount Airy, 13-0. Shannon, take it away.
Well, Eastern Randolph defeated Thomasville last week, 40-19. Mount Airy crushed Murphy, 64-26. And when I was looking up stuff on this, some people were saying it wasn't even that close of a game. But Eastern Randolph, they've only lost one game, and that was to Eastern Alamance, 35-15.
First game of the year.
First game of the season. So, but they got quarterback Carter Rebel. He's averaging 194 yards per game. He has 30 touchdowns 8 of those rushing touchdowns. He is a bigger kid playing quarterback, and he also is southpaw too. He's a lefty. They're averaging 39, giving up 11. Mount Airy comes in with their unblemished record, and right now they're one of the top teams in the state, 1A to 4A as far as their play. They're averaging 55, only giving up 4 points a game. They're led by running back State, but they run the ball. Tyler Mason and Tayshawn Martin both have combined to score 49 touchdowns on the ground. It's going to take a special team to beat Mount Airy, and it won't be tonight. I think Mount Airy wins 49-21.
Tom, what do you think?
It's just, how can you pick against Mount Airy? I mean, they've just been dominating their competition. What team averages giving up 4 points a game? I mean,
Mount Airy.
What do they give up, a couple of 2-run doubles a game? I mean, it's just, they are dominant year in, year out. Eastern Randolph, like I said, they haven't lost since the first game of the year, so they've been playing good football. But
that's true.
This Mount Airy team,
but that's a long ride, Tom.
I think you just look at their 64-0, 42-0, 77-0, 63-0, 53-0, 55-3. I mean, Shannon, how can Eastern? I don't think they'll sniff them. I think Mount Airy will control the entire game, and they'll win easily, setting up that clash. And I think Mount Airy will go to Robbinsville and beat them as well. I'm predicting Mount Airy to go to the state championship, but I think and no disrespect to Eastern Randolph, but they're just a very good football team.
And then everybody, you're talking about like in next week and then the week after in the state championship, Tarboro on the other side, that they're only giving up 4 points a game as well.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
Defense. Yeah. So that's the Eastern side coming over. But
well, it sounds like a wonderful 1A championship game. But like you said, Eastern Randolph 12-1, Mount Airy 13-0, only one loss between them. After tonight, Eastern Randolph's going to have 2. Mount Airy's favored by 10, Tom.
Yeah,
I think it'll be more than that when it's all said and done.
I think
and your prediction about next week, Robbinsville and Mount Airy. Mount Airy will have to travel to Robbinsville. There's a lot of crooked roads between Mount Airy and Robbinsville.
I agree. That'll be tough. I think they'll be able to overcome that.
But I think Mount Airy will pull it out. And, Shannon, if we go so far, I know, Tarboro.
Yeah.
That's tough.
That'll be a good game.
But I think I'm going to go with Mount Airy all the way. All right, fellas. That brings us down to the 2A. Now, Shannon, you may have some interest in this game tonight.
Well, they said the Robbinsville running back got hurt last week, so he may not play tonight.
Ooh.
So that could be the game, the deal breaker.
Well, Mount Airy would definitely take that, because then they would get a home game if North Ryan's able to win that game.
Yeah.
All right, let's look at the 2A. Let's go over here and talk about Forest Hills and Shelby tonight. Shannon, what have you got on those two teams?
All right, so last week, Forest Hills defeated Community School of Davison 48-21. Shelby knocked off Salisbury 38-21. The only loss Forest Hills has had this year, Tom, you mentioned a while ago, was against Monroe on September 29th. And we all know Shelby's 3 losses were Kings Mountain, AC Reynolds, and Crest, those first 3 games of the season. But since then, the Lions have steadily improved, and they're playing just about as good as any team out there right now. But Forest Hills comes in averaging 36, giving up 12 points a game. Led by quarterback Brady Hibbert. He's averaging over 200 yards per game and with 34 touchdowns. As he goes, Forest Hills will go because they don't have that big play. You mentioned that a while ago. He's really all they got. But Shelby comes in averaging 49. They're giving up 18. We mentioned Land Farmer a while ago, the sophomore quarterback. He's averaging 230 yards per game with 40 touchdowns. And they have running back Tristan Tate. He's also averaging over 100 yards a game. And you have Isaiah Bridges, the receiver, the big game threat, the one that can stretch the field. He's averaging over 120 yards a game, has 20 touchdowns. These two teams are certainly better than their playoff ranking, but again, Tom, you hit the nail on the head. Forest Hills, they've got the quarterback, but they don't have the talent to match what Shelby's going to bring too.
So either.
Yeah, I think Shelby wins this one easily 49, and I'll say Forest Hills 21.
Tom?
Yeah, when I saw they're averaging, like I said, about 300 yards a game. Nothing like a lot of these offenses we've seen. Yeah. I think their longest touchdown rushing and receiving was somewhere in the 40-yard range. That tells me they don't have a game breaker. And I think that you guys talked about Bridges and a couple others. Don't forget about Hollifield in that.
Yeah.
And that too, where he had a 41-yard touchdown against Burns. I just like Shelby in this game. I just do not think that Forest Hills will match up with Shelby's speed and talent. I think it's going to be over at halftime.
Can you say blowout?
Yeah, I think it.
That's my prediction,
yeah.
Tom. Forest Hills hasn't seen a team like Shelby. Shelby's tested. They're tried. They're hitting on all their cylinders right now. They've got the speed. They've got the defense. Shelby's selected by 4 to win this game. I think it'll be more like 24.
I think it will be too. Yeah. I think it will be too.
Well, let's move over to an interesting game. Bunker Hill versus Reidsville. We got Bunker Hill, which is 13-0. You've seen them, Tom. Playing number 1 seed Reidsville, which is 12-1. Shannon, what do you got on these?
All right, well, last week, Bunker Hill obviously defeated Monroe 24-23. Reidsville defeated Brevard 41-20. Bunker Hill, like I said, they're undefeated. The only loss Reidsville has had this year was the Eastern Alamance, and that was 19-14 back early on September 8th. I'm surprised at Bunker Hill this year. There's probably no secret about that. But they do have a good team. Let's just go ahead and, I will admit that. They're led by quarterback Reddick Robinson. He's averaging 176 yards per game. He has 22 touchdowns. The running back Jason Willis Jr., he's averaging 171 yards per game. He has 34 touchdowns. And the time you mentioned their receiver, McCleve. That's the big three. That's the big three that they're bringing to the table. They're averaging 42, giving up 14. Now, Reidsville comes in averaging 41, giving up 12. They have a quarterback. This is his 3rd year at the helm, Al Lee. He's averaging 220 yards per game. He has 39 touchdowns. And running back Jerry Cobb, he with 15 touchdowns. The one thing that Reidsville has is speed at wide receiver, and that would be a huge advantage for Reidsville. Or not just wide receiver, tight end, anybody. And I think that's going to be the big key in this game. And I know Bunker Hill played Burns. They played Monroe. But they haven't faced a team with the speed like Reidsville has. And I think that's going to present some problems for them. I think Reidsville wins this one easily 35-17.
All right, Tom.
Yeah, I've got, you had 35-17. Is that what you had? I think Bunker Hill has kept everybody pretty close. The Monroe game was close. The Burns game was close. They played a lot of close football games. I think Reidsville does have the better team. I agree with a lot of what you said. But I think Bunker Hill feels like they are a team of destiny, and I think that's going to keep them in it. So I'm going with you, only I'm predicting a little bit closer game because this Bunker Hill team has been tough all year. Don't forget, they've faced like a good West Lincoln team and a good Lincoln team. They've had a lot of teams they're battle tested. So I've got faith in them. If they win this game, it wouldn't shock me, but I just think Reidsville's going to have too much. I'm predicting Reidsville by a touchdown.
Well, it would be to Shelby's advantage for Bunker Hill, I think, to win this game because Bunker Hill's the 4 seed, Shelby's the 7 seed. At least they wouldn't have to travel as far. That trip to Reidsville, Shannon, that's a long haul.
It's awful. Yeah. It's awful.
But I'm like you guys. Although Bunker Hill is favored by 1 point in this game, Tom, that Reidsville home crowd is tough.
I just think that's some fuzzy math right there. Now, it was a good win. If Bunker Hill could hang with Monroe, now I know Monroe had some speed.
They did have some talent, yeah.
So if they can hang with them, but I'm with you, Dennis. On the road, man, that's a tough place to go.
I'm going with Reidsville. All right, well, let's talk about West Henderson traveling over to Hickory, fellas. West Henderson is 13-0. Hickory is 13-0. You got the 3 seed playing the 2 seed. Shannon, take it away.
Well, not too much has been said on the western side of the state about this game, unless you're from Hickory or if you're from Henderson County, because Crest and Dudley are playing as well. Both West Henderson and Hickory come in undefeated, looking to advance. Obviously, last week West Henderson defeated Oak Grove 45-24. Hickory defeated AC Reynolds 61-38. West Henderson is averaging 45 points a game. They're only giving up 11 points. The Falcons are led by quarterback Cade Young. He's averaging over 120 yards per game, and running back Carson Dimsdale, he's averaging 161 yards per game. He does have 33 touchdowns on the season. Now, Hickory's averaging 47. They're giving up 22. The Red Tornadoes led by quarterback Brady Stober. He's averaging 255 yards per game with 43 touchdowns, and they have a good running back, Isaiah Lackey. He's averaging over 117 yards per game with 31 touchdowns. Obviously, both teams can put points on the board, but the one thing, again, I'm big on the speed part of it. I think Hickory is, because I saw West Henderson. I know it was last year. I saw them play Kings Mountain. The Kings Mountain speed shut them completely down. And West Henderson was undefeated as well last year when that happened in the playoffs. So I think it's going to be the same problem tonight. The turf field up there, I don't think that'll matter because both of them have turf fields. But I think Hickory, the speed factor will be the difference. I got Hickory winning 49-21.
All right, Tom.
So who's their common opponent?
I have no idea. I didn't get that
East
far.
Lincoln.
East Lincoln is?
East Lincoln.
All
Now,
right.
I will tell you that way back now it's been a while, but all the way back in September, this West Henderson team took care of East Lincoln. They must have played them non-conference.
But early
played
on,
them
a lot
twice,
of
too,
people
didn't they?
took care of East Lincoln.
No, they played They played North Lincoln twice. They took care of East Lincoln 49-28. And correct me if I'm wrong, Shannon, I think they beat East Lincoln 37-7 maybe in the second round. So if you're trying to judge that common opponent, maybe this West Henderson team's a little bit better than some people are going to give them credit
They're
for.
very solid.
But that being said, Hickory's at home. They're scoring a ton of points. They absolutely annihilated AC Reynolds last week. I don't know. I mean, like I try to find little things like that, and I followed Hickory more closely because they're closer to us than West Henderson. Judging on that, I think it's Hickory, but it's closer than people think. I think maybe a touchdown or less. I think West Henderson's going to hang in there. Wouldn't surprise me if West Henderson won this game. I think they've got enough to win, but Hickory at home, and they've really got it rolling on offense. I like Hickory in this game.
Well, I keep hearing some people telling me about the Stover kid from Hickory that's a quarterback, that he may be a better quarterback than some of our local quarterbacks that we think rather highly of, that he's very accurate. He's a baseball player. And they're saying maybe he's going to go baseball rather than football, Tom. I'm with you. I've got to favor Hickory, even though both teams are 13-0. Hickory's favored by 3 points. That sounds about right. I'm going with Hickory in a close one. All right. We got one more game to discuss, fellas, and we got to do it fairly quickly. It's number 4 Dudley at number 1 Crest. Shannon, take it away.
Obviously, we talked about it a while ago. Dudley defeated Robinson 50-28 last week. Crest defeated West Charlotte in overtime 30-29. Dudley comes in averaging 54 a game, giving up just 9 points per game on the year. They're led by quarterback Anthony Atmore the second. He's averaging 273 yards per game. He has 49 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. And running back Jaden Brown, he's just averaging around 70 yards.
All right, it's 6:28 on WOHS. We're going to be pulling away. The postgame show will continue on, I believe, KTCBroadcasting.com, YouTube. So you guys keep it going, and we're going to pull off WOHS and get ready for Shelby game coming up here in just a few minutes.
The best way to say Merry Christmas is to drop by Bliss Day Spa and Salon, 1920 East Marion Street in Shelby, next to the Cleveland Mall. Make it easy on you and that loved one by giving them their own Bliss Day Spa and Salon gift certificate. They can put it towards a variety of massages, nail services, waxing, facial treatments, lash extensions, and lifts. Call about holiday specials at 704-600-6213. When visiting, register for the $1,000 Christmas shopping spree.
Some traditions are worth keeping. For generations, case knives have been found under the Christmas tree. Unwrap the magic of Christmas with a case knife from Hometown Hardware in Kings Mountain. Case knives are made with integrity by people of integrity, helping you make gift giving easy. And now, with the qualifying purchase of
All right, we're going to send it back to you guys because you guys are live on WHS. The Shelby game will be on WCSL, so I'll pull them off and put you guys back on the radio. Dennis Davis, I apologize for messing up on your birthday.
No problem.
All right,
I
get
get
back.
all kind of surprises on my birthday,
Get
Calvin.
get back to what you guys are doing.
Well, Shannon, take it
All
away.
right, so he was talking about Dudley's offense. Atmore, the quarterback, running back Jaden Brown, but then they have those two receivers, C.J. Neely and Nasir Newkirk. They're both averaging right at 80 yards per game. They have 15 touchdowns each. And but again, as good as they are on offense, they're only giving up 9 points per game. Whereas Crest, they're coming in averaging 47 a game, giving up 19. Obviously, we talked about Natavius Husky, their quarterback. He's averaging 264 yards per game. He has 43 touchdowns on the year. Running back Aiden Carson, who we talked about him a while ago, he was huge last week in keeping those drives alive for Crest to put him in position to win that ball game. And then their big three receivers, Green, Addison, and A.J. Adams, with Green and Adams over 1,000 yards, and Addison sitting at 925 yards. But the thing about this game is, we talked about Dudley a while ago, how powerful they were. But again, Crest has shown all year they only need one play, and they can take it to the house from anywhere on the field, whether it's special teams, offense, defense, you return an interception or something like that. I think home field advantage will play a part in this game, and I think it's going to be huge in this game, again, because of the drives coming down. Dudley's coming down early, sitting on that bus. I think it's going to be a close game, and I guess I'm a homer. I'm going to pick Crest winning this one 35-34 over Dudley.
Okay. Tom.
Well, you got to Crest defense. Bring your A game tonight. Bring the game you brought to the last part of the West Charlotte game, because, like I said, studying that Dudley team a little bit, they're going to have some athletes out there. But Crest at home, and I don't know if Dudley, like you talked about Husky, I don't know if they've seen a player like that. I don't know if they've seen a receiver or receiving core as good as Crest, because it's more than just Green, Addison and Adams too. And that running game, Carson, we've talked about him. So, they've got 5 guys there that can hit the home run. So, I like Crest. I think it'll be high scoring. I think it'll be somewhere in at least both teams in the 30s. But I think Crest will prevail. Home field advantage. I think they outscore Dudley. I think their defense does enough to get the win. And I don't know if Kelly Upton's listening, the old quarterback over there at Crest. He and his daughter are going over there tonight. So, Kelly, if you're listening, picking Crest tonight. Now, hold on, because his daughter was worried. He says, well, I hope our defense shows up. It's like, they better show up tonight. But I got faith in them. I think they're going to win tonight.
Oh, boy. This is what we've been looking for all year. People been talking about this one. It's going to be Dudley, king of Greensboro, coming to town, because Crest got that number 1 seed, Tom. And I think the advantage that Crest has had, being the number 1 seed and playing all their games at home, cannot be undervalued. It's got them this far in some very hard-nosed, tough-fought games. I'm not going to talk about the Crest offense. Everybody in the country knows what the Crest offense can do. They know about Tater. They know about all them receivers. Shannon, let's talk about the Crest defense.
Go to Tom.
Oh,
well,
tell her I said hello, Shannon.
I think
I'll come by later after we get off. Tom, did you see that video of the kid making the one-handed interception in the end zone last week?
I did not.
You did not. It was spectacular. They've got 2 sophomores who have already been offered by Appalachian State. My understanding is now that Missouri's offered them. The Crest defense is far superior to the reputation that they have. And I'm going to put this one right in the lap of some young Chargers. Boys, they may be bigger than you are. They may be uglier than you are. But you're meaner than they are. And when Coach Sosby gets into the talking about them great Chargers and that Cajun kind of talk, you know what I'm talking about, he's going to fire these boys up, and just don't get too far behind. They're big and they're bad. Husky will take care of his side of the ball. All the receivers over there will take care of theirs. The running backs will take care of theirs. I'm putting this game right square in the lap of the Crest defense. Boys, it's time to step up and earn your kudos. The Crest defense is going to win this game tonight, Tom. I'm with you, and I'm with Shannon. Yes, I'm a homer, folks. You know that. I don't deny it. I got the Crest hat on. I didn't go to the practice yesterday. I wanted to stay out of that mess. But tonight, they're going to win by beating Dudley 38-34.
Yeah, that was a win-win for the Gipper speech there, Dennis.
I was trying to find some music to play in the background.
That's pretty good. I agree.
Oh, you're too busy talking to women.
I think they'll do enough. Just like you said, they're going to get, Dudley's going to get their yards. They're probably going to get their points, but I think Crest is going to do enough. And I don't know if you could stop 5 guys, that are game breakers. And I know I'm forgetting somebody else. I mean, I know you guys are a little bit more familiar with it than me because I've watched mostly Burns and listened to you guys at night. But I think that Crest has just got too much. I think they'll be able to outscore them. And the defense, as Dennis said, I agree. They're better than people give them credit for. And if you want the proof, look at last week's game. Yeah. I think that's the proof that they're better. They're better than some people say they are. And I know that, they talked about the shortcomings of like Kings Mountain, their offense, and Crest was their defense. But I think the shortcomings, I agree with you, the shortcomings of Crest defense are overinflated. They've played some tough competition, and they've showed they can get it done when it matters.
Shannon, would you like to say a few words about the Crest defense? You're more familiar with them.
I was going to try to show Tom that picture of the
interception.
Yeah. He made it great. It was a one-headed thing. I got it on video, but I wasn't down there where the guy was.
I was listening back and forth, and I just want to tell everybody that if you're not tuning into the Red Zone channel, I mean, I know that if you're a Shelby man, you're gonna tune in to Chip. Chip's filling in for Brent tonight. So Chip and Jeff Jones will be doing the Shelby game, and it's going to be Robbie and Paul over there at Crest. But I enjoyed being able to listen to both games because at certain times Kevin would kick it on over to the Crest game when it was important and kick it on over to the Shelby game. So, like, if you're like me, now I know Dennis is the hardcore. He's going to be watching Crest. He's going to be tuned into Crest. But, like, if you're like me and just kind of interested in both games, you really can't beat. You can't.
I'm pulling for Shelby tonight. I'm picking Shelby tonight. I don't think they have near the competition to overcome. Shelby's got this one. I won't say in the bag, but I think Shelby advances to Reidsville. They've been there before. We'll talk about Reidsville next week. But I think the deal with Crest and Dudley is the immovable object meets the irresistible force. Now, who's got the immovable object and who's got the irresistible force remains to be seen tonight. Tune in to the post-game show, and we'll tell you.
Yeah, and don't forget that at 7 o'clock, they'll begin the coverage of Crest and Dudley over on 92.9. That's our charitable station. I'm going to tell you something about 92.9. You can get that signal for a long way.
You can.
I can get that signal better than I can get WHS.
Yeah, you can because of where the tower is. So the 92.9, if you're anywhere like all the way to Forest City, all the way to the other side of Gaston County, everywhere in Cleveland County, you can listen to that game.
Yeah, Calvin did good when he moved that antenna.
Yeah. So 92, and if you're just a channel surfer, if you're just a high school football fan, Red Zone channel, or if you're in your car, 92.9 to 101.5. We'll have both those games covered wire to wire, and then both will do a wrap-up, a summary, and then we'll have the CSI Mechanical post-game show right here with Dennis will be in here, and Kevin, and is Will coming in tonight?
Will's always here. How about you, Tom? Why don't you stick around?
Oh, well, I'm going to stick around for a little bit, but Daddy promised to take Anna to get her Christmas tree. She's 21 years old. So we're going to do that.
But when Grandpa takes your daughter to get her Christmas tree, I tell you what, Tom, if you'll stick around, I'll give you a piece of my birthday cake.
I appreciate that, Dennis. Dennis, and I just want to tell everybody, happy birthday, Dennis Davis. He turned 43 years old today. It's not every day. I mean, Dennis, I know you're in your 40s now, and, it's a little depressing.
I was older than that when you were in high school,
You probably
Tom.
were. Yeah, you probably were, but don't
Your
feel,
dad and I are probably about the same
Don't
age.
feel bad, Dennis. Next year, little Tom from your 9th grade economics class hits the big 5-0. When your former junior high students hit 50, you're like, oh gosh.
I've got students that are on Social Security and retired.
I know it's just like I always made fun of the older teachers when I first got to Burns.
Yeah.
The I taught your mama. You know, but now I've literally got like 3 or 4 current students. I taught their mama or coached their mama, or their mama was there when I was there, or they come in and say, do you remember my mother, my father? I'm like, no, well, you didn't teach them, but they were here when you were here.
I hit the grandkids, Tom, and I knew when it was time to retire, when I became that old man down the hall.
Yeah, the old man. So I'm kind of hitting that point and getting there, Dennis. Getting there, Dennis. I tell you what, it's going to be hard to leave once you're there for us. You don't go to a place 27 years and just walk out the door. It's going to be tough. It's going to be tough when that time comes.
Tom, the most enjoyable part of retirement is the first day of school.
And you
when the bus goes by and blows the horn, and you roll over instead of roll out.
Yeah, I don't know. I might have to find a little something to do, but you know, it's
well, you can always try radio, Tom.
Always try radio. I can
or the
always
charter
try
schools.
radio.
You can go back to the charter schools, you know, since he loves those.
But what I know, shut up. Just shut your mouth, shit.
Yeah, I can get you a gig over at Thomas Jefferson. I know some people.
I swear, both of you shut up, okay? Before you make me mad.
Thomas
Don't make me mad. It's been such a good show, Dennis. Don't ruin it now.
You could coach soccer.
This is Terry tomorrow morning. I have to deal with him tomorrow morning. So, no, I'm not dealing with this right now. But like I said, it's one of those things where it's tough. But I tell you what I would like to do. I don't know if anybody out here listens. You know, Captain Ron has a morning show, and it's on 92.9 and 101.5, and they have all these cool giveaways and things like that. The big old Whopper prize that they give out every week, and they take the callers and things. So, you know, you need to listen in and call in for that. But Milton gets to do the news. You know, Milton Baker does. And I was like, if Milton ever gave up the news gig, I'd like to do that. And if he ever gave that up, I don't know if he ever will. He does a great job.
Well, maybe you could do the swap and shop too.
Yeah, the swap and shop. I don't know if I can handle that. I don't know if I can handle that one. But if you want the local news, it's just like we have all the local sports. If you want to know anything about Crest, Shelby, Burns, football, we got it all covered. But all the local news, all the stuff you might not hear about in Gaston County, in Cleveland County, in Rutherford County, Lincoln County, Milton does a good job in covering those stories. So they do it at 7 o'clock. They have like more of a statewide news, and then they have Milton, who does the really local news, which you can't get anymore. I mean, it's just like you can't get it.
You got to listen to us.
Right.
Tom, I have to confess, I remember a day over at the Shelby YMCA when you were in there pumping iron, looking good.
That was a few years back.
And I said, Tom, I need some help broadcasting a game.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
And we went over to the old WHS studio.
The dungeon, yeah.
And unfortunately, we, I think, worked for Calvin a year, and then they changed hands, ownership.
Yep.
And then we were sort of out in the cold, and Scott Nicer threw us a dog biscuit, which is about all we got.
Yeah.
And you and I were there going, well, what do we do now?
Yeah.
You have come a long way and made me proud with your professional abilities and performance on the radio. And the Burns Bulldogs have benefited from you being on the broadcast, Tom. I just wanted to say that publicly.
I appreciate that, and they've been very good to us. And I can't say enough, especially our athletic director, Chris White, who has really been good to us. Not just football, but basketball. I mean, basketball's coming up. We're going to have coverage on there. Kevin will update. But don't forget, we cover basketball, we cover baseball, and we've always been welcome at Burns High School. So,
yes.
I mean,
I will say that for Burns. Of all the teams in Cleveland County, Burns is the only one that allows us to broadcast video.
Right. They do video, and a lot of the people appreciate it. And I would like to say this, if anybody's out there listening, you're thinking about doing it at your school, because I've actually talked to some people who said, well, what do you guys do? We're thinking about doing it at our school. What are the rules and all that? And I don't get into all that, but I basically tell them, you got to work it out. You're not just going to go in there. But I think that it brings the community together. I don't think people understand that even the part of community has moved away, people will text from Charleston, from Florida, from Tennessee,
it's
wherever.
Not about hot dog sales.
Wherever they move, say, hey, you were my 9th grade civics teacher. I heard about this, and I'm, following along, watching my old high school team. So I wish it would have been around, when I was in college, to keep up with some of the guys that, played before you. When you're off at college, you talk about Ryan Thompson and that crowd. I'm sure they like to tune in, and eventually there's my little cousin. There's my buddy. So I really do think that the radio broadcast helped bring communities together, and I wish more people realized that. And I understand the shall we say, the financial struggles that schools face, but I would just say I think it actually will if you increase interest, that increases attendance.
You're right.
A disconnect from the school means a decrease in attendance. So I mean that's just the way I feel. That if you're on there and say, hey, and there's always going to be some people, Shannon, that don't go to the game. They're just not going to go to the game. They don't want to go. Yeah. Too many people. They don't like the noise, whatever. And, those people are just what they are. And there's some people that might, say, if it's on, I just might stay home. But I think it does, as it increases that interest. And you hear about Isaiah Bridges and the farmer and, these kids. And you hear, wow, I keep hearing about these kids. I want to go to the game, check it out.
Yeah.
So I think in the long run it does benefit.
We've got former players and players that are off playing in college, and I want to give a shout out to Brandon Spikes. We had a nice conversation. He goes to the University of Florida. My advice, Brandon, don't be like some of these guys. Don't just make football your life. Get an education. He did. He hit the books. He's back doing some graduate work as an assistant coach at the University of Florida. They've got a big game. And tomorrow, he's recognized, I don't know what they call it down there. I think it's Mr. C or something. Yeah. I guess it's named after you, Tom.
Whatever.
But they have an award that's a real prestigious thing. And Brandon is going to be recognized tomorrow for that prestigious award, even though he's still coaching at Florida right now as a, I guess, graduate assistant.
How many years did he play pro ball?
I think he played 4 at New England and 2 at Buffalo.
Yeah, so, he played
and played in the Super Bowl. That's a big deal. I don't care who you are. That's a big deal.
It's like he played a little pro ball there. I mean,
we've had guys from Burns too. Tony Scott and some guys. Mm-hmm. We've got guys from Shelby that played pro ball. Folks, if you want to see good high school football, Cleveland County is the place where it takes place. State championships, college, NFL, it's all right here on Friday nights. You'll see kids tonight at Shelby and Crest that will be playing somewhere in college next year. You'll see kids playing tonight that will be playing somewhere on Sundays.
And two, it's not just, it's a football season, we're talking about that, but you're going to see kids tonight, they're going to be productive adults. When they get older, they're going to be productive in the community. They're going to be, not out here doing something, getting in trouble and things like that. They're going to, again, you're going to have those, and it's not just, you got it everywhere too. I mean, you got kids that are going to that play on Friday nights that, they may have a 4.6 GPA, but we never hear about it because we just talk about stats and how many touchdowns they've scored and yards they've got. But, there's a lot of things that, there's a lot of positive things with high school football that goes unmentioned, and
like the Adams brothers, who are both one's at Davidson, the other one's considering going to Davidson.
I mean, that's not a junk school academically. No. And I mentioned about the practice yesterday. Practicing on Thanksgiving Day is a privilege that you look forward to. Shelby had some former players that came back to support their team. Crest had a whole stand full of former players and coaches that came back. And these are exactly what you're talking about, Shannon. These are the guys that teach our class, like Tom over here. Don't tell anybody, but he played football for Crest. Yeah, but he's done a fantastic job teaching over at Burns High School. And, we have people that are the backbone of the community, and those that listen to the games, Tom, that you play, over the internet, and keep up with their old alma mater Burns and come back, or people that listen to Robbie and some of the guys that are doing the Crest games, or Brent and Jeff and doing the Shelby games, and they keep an interest in what their old school's doing, and they come back here and they contribute. They don't just play 4 years at high school and leave. They may live somewhere else, but they're still connected here.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. I mean, just it's community outreach. I mean, what's that saying? Football is family. It is. Yeah, I mean, it really is.
It's life.
It's the truth. It's life, but it's family, and it is something special. Football around here and the media coverage we're able to give it. I mean,
right.
I'm just the schools benefit, we benefit. It's win-win.
Tom, when you were playing football at Crest, who was the coach? Mike Stewart?
Mike Stewart was the coach.
I noticed he said yesterday that he was sorry he wasn't able to attend that practice session. I'm sure he would have been in hog heaven speaking with your former teammates and the others and wishing these fellas that he has no connection with victory tonight and further on. Shannon, same thing. Former coaches always have a place in your heart.
Yeah, I saw last night online, it was a picture of course, you saw the Crest. They had a picture on Twitter, I think, the Crest one, then the Shelby one right after it. And an Independence coach, Adam Weber, he was there. And, of course, Independence is playing tonight, too. And I'm like, well, when did Independence practice, But they probably practiced yesterday morning.
Yeah.
That was really – and he was down there with his Independence stuff on, which was cool to see. But, yeah, you're right. You get – it does build community, and it does build – it's not just about ticket sales. It's not about, well, I mean, some people, that's what they're seeing and whatever, for whatever reason. But you think about the older people that supported these teams for years.
Yeah.
And then, of course, they're getting older. I can throw my mom in there before she passed away. She never went to the games anymore because she physically couldn't, but she would listen to them. Now, granted, she couldn't work her phone to bring it up on the internet, but she could hear it.
Yeah.
It's things like that. It's still just I think you need that. I think schools that do not have it, as you mentioned it before, I think that is a huge plus for your school. It's a huge plus for your community. When I lived in Monroe, Monroe High School had their own radio station at the school that was sponsored by the local radio station in Union County.
Yeah.
They came in and worked with the kids. I would love for that to happen in Cleveland County, Gaston County, Lincoln County, even Rutherford County, wherever. But to build, that way, everybody's involved in it. It's not, well, you're just doing it because you want this or that. Like the radio station down there, it was involved with all 5 of the high schools in Union County. And I think that would be a great thing here, but it does cost money. And, you got to look at that as well. But it's still, Tom, you hit the nail on the head. It does build community.
Well, Will, who comes in here for the post-game show, Will was my student at Crest. Later on, probably 10 years later, I was teaching broadcasting over at the community college. Will was in my broadcast class. Will's over here. Tom and Will are not my sons, but in a way I feel a little bit like I'm responsible for them. Blame me, not Tom and Will. But think of the coaches, like Chris Hawk is over in Charlotte coaching over there. I believe at Huff or somewhere over there. Chris Coleman was coaching at West Charlotte. He had not only an outstanding career at NC State, but he gave me his rookie card with the Tennessee Titans. I still treasure that. A lot of these guys are parts of the community, even though they don't live here anymore. They still have that connection. They still come back. I'm sure Chris would have liked to won last week, but I'm sure he also had some pride in playing in his old stadium and seeing those guys lined up across from him wearing that uniform that he used to wear.
Yeah, I mean that's got to be tough when you have to go up against a team that you fought, and won state championships with, and now you're on the other side. Now, when Coleman came through, they had won a championship, right? That was
It was in 94.
As a matter of fact,
he
he and the Ramseur kid, who was very good at NC State and transferred to Appalachian.
One at Timmy.
Yep. Yeah. Both Tim Ramseur and Chris Coleman were pages for me when I was in the Senate.
Yeah.
And, that's the kind of thing I saw that, Tom, is reaching out. I had students from Kings Mountain, from Burns, from various places, because I wanted them to, as a government and economic and legal political systems teacher, that's the best lesson they can get.
Oh, yeah.
Going down there and seeing that hands-on.
real life experiences.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I do think it. You touched on the fact that it does builds men. I think it does. And if you look at the data that comes back on it, the kids that play sports, they tend to stay in school more. They tend to stay out of trouble more because, they get a little bit more got a little something to do. And I've told many kids, sometimes kids will say something I hear say, well, I'm going to practice today. I'm not even a coach. I was like, why would you say something like that? Oh, yeah. I said, that's part of your education, son.
Well, I'd like to
that's
brag
part of your education.
I'd like to brag on one more former student, not just players, cheerleaders too. Your daughter is a senior at UNCC. Engineering degree?
Engineering, yep. Systems engineering.
Former cheerleader.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's all. I mean,
Burns Middle, Burns High School.
That's part of her education too. I mean, I feel very much that the sports is part of your education.
Gave her discipline and.
Well, it's just like even the kids that I put in the driver's ed car, the ones that played sports, you can tell they're not nervous.
Yeah,
they've been in a pressure situation before. I mean, you just tell the difference.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's definitely part of your education. I'm not saying everybody's got to play sports now, but I'm saying that it does help build skills that maybe you won't build
and a certain
in the classroom.
confidence that you have that you can take from the playing field to the job market, and it's like you said, Tom. You notice the difference.
Oh yeah, I mean, there's definitely a difference in the kids that played than the kids that haven't. And I said, a baseball player from North Gaston. I said, you ball player, aren't you? Because yes, I could tell you're not scared to death. It's like, and it is. I mean, you think about what these kids are doing. How many people are going to be at Crest tonight? A few thousand, probably. I'd say that'd be a bunch there. You got to go perform in front of all these people. Everybody's watching you. I mean, you talk about cheerleaders. There's the home crowds
band,
in there. Yeah, band.
All these people. And the thing of it is, Tom, we know not every kid out there tonight is going to play college ball. Not every kid who plays college ball is going to play pro ball. I used to tell my kids, your chances of becoming a brain surgeon are much better than they were of playing in the NBA. Because I'd get all these kids in there. Oh, David Thompson. Yeah, he's the highest paid athlete at that time. But I said, you're not even on the JV team. And you're telling me about all these things that you're going to do in the NBA. Let's be realistic, son.
Well, it's hard to be realistic when they watch all this stuff on TV.
The books.
Yeah, but good luck to our teams tonight, though. Good luck to our teams. Hopefully, as long as our teams keep winning, we keep doing this every Friday night.
Oh yeah, I like the paycheck as well as the company. I get to spend time with Shannon over here.
All right. So once again, just reminding you, the Shelby Golden Lions are playing Forest Hills over on 92.9. And in just a few minutes, we're going to kick it on over to Sid Bryson Stadium. Robbie Roop and Paul Foster will have the call for you from Sid Bryson Stadium. So, so JP, if you'll take it away, have a good evening. Enjoy the football and also the Red Zone channel right here at KTC Broadcasting.
And we'll be here with all the results in the post-game show.
And the post-game show brought to you by CSI Mechanical will be coming up a little later.
Steve Churka, one of my former students.
That's right. Yeah, Steve, we appreciate your support. And tune into the games. Thank you.
Is your immune system ready to fight off the winter colds and flu? Well, if not, see the Boston Pharmacy or the Medical Center Pharmacy in Cherryville for immune system supplements, including vitamin D3, zinc 30, buffered vitamin C, and quercetin. Find out how they can help have your immune system ready to fight. Find out more today at the Boston Pharmacy, Highway 18 North in Boston, and the Medical Center Pharmacy on East Academy Street in Cherryville.
In Bowling Springs and Shelby, Maxwell B. Hamrick Insurance has a long tradition of meeting the insurance needs of its customers decade after decade. Maxwell B. Hamrick continues offering you the best policy possible by only the best insurers that are proven and trusted. Make sure to ask about the companies they work with when you talk with one of their certified agents. Maxwell B. Hamrick Insurance, 116 North Main Street, Bowling Springs, 719 South Lafayette Street in Shelby, as well as online at mbhamrickins.com.
Safe Lane Driving School in Shelby wants to take this time to salute our men and women in service and to our veterans. We thank you for bravely doing what you're called to do so we can safely do what we're free to do. We remember our veterans and renew our national promise to fulfill our sacred obligations to our veterans and their families who have sacrificed so much so that we can live free. This salute is from Safe Lane Driving School, 1230-8 East Dixon Boulevard in Shelby. Online at safelanedrivingschool.com. Call 704-481-7807.
Classic Ford of Shelby wants to point out the foundation of Veterans Day, and that would be honoring the sacrifices that many have made for our country in the name of freedom. Never was so much owed by so many to so few. We often take for granted the very things that most deserve our gratitude. Freedom is never free. This Veterans Day salute is from everyone at Classic Ford of Shelby, 1775 East Dixon Boulevard. Online at classicfordofshelby.com.
The Uptown Shelby Association would like to take this time to thank our veterans for their service. We want to thank you for your time, bravery, and sacrifice for our country. We're grateful for what you have done to maintain America's freedom. To all the soldiers, past and present, we thank you for the sacrifices you have made. This veteran salute is from everyone at the Uptown Shelby Association, 211 South Trade Street in Uptown Shelby.
Our weather stays fairly quiet for the remainder of the holiday weekend. We'll have partly cloudy skies overnight tonight. It's chilly with temperatures in the middle to upper 30s. A mix of sun and clouds Saturday, and it stays very cool.